Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Hello, and welcome to the meeting of the Webster County Board of Education. We are so glad you have joined us today. Our meeting will begin momentarily.
Are we ready? Yeah. 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock, our regular meeting of the Board of Education, January 13th, 2025, and we're at the board office. Call this meeting to order. Our first item of business is school performance, student outcomes, and academic goals, and we have our state champion esports team here.
Alrighty. We will get started. The best part of these meetings are always any chance we can recognize our students for their successes, and we have a big one here tonight. The Webster County High School esports team claimed the West Virginia State Championship in Overwatch 2 at a tournament held at West Virginia Wesleyan College on December 14th, 2024. The team consisted of Dylan Lowe, Corey Hagerman, Wyatt Hosey, Asa Carpenter, and Ezekiel Gray, with Christian Harris serving as a substitute. Their coach, Naomi Hagerman, praised the players for their performance despite the challenges they faced. Our little team worked with bare minimum equipment and little outside support. We were able to come out victorious, Hagerman said. We were up against an undefeated AAA team, Hedgesville, in the semifinals and swept them 3-0. Then we faced Ravenswood in the final and didn't drop a single round. It makes me think about what these kids could accomplish. They had access to better equipment and resources. The championship run lasted over 17 exhausting hours. In addition to the team's success, Ezekiel Gray was recruited by Concord University, and the entire team received scholarships to West Virginia Wesleyan College. The esports program at Webster County High School has been made possible by the Haven Coalition, which has been a sole funding source. The coalition's effort have provided students with a safe and inclusive extracurricular activity, especially for those not drawn to traditional sports or school programs. This experience has been incredible for them, Hagerman added. It boosted their confidence and shown what they are capable of achieving. The Webster County Board of Education will recognize them on the team's achievement tonight, January the 13th, thank you. And we are very excited to have everyone here. I'd like to read off the names, if you would. And then, Naomi, do you want to talk first, or do you want me to call them up first? Call them up first. Okay, we'll call them up first. All right, team captain, this is the champions, the esports team state champions. Team captain, Dylan Lowe. Here. All right. Let's have a stand right here. Asa Carpenter. Wyatt Hosey. Corey Hagerman. Ezekiel Gray. And Christian Harris. All right. Some other kids on the team were Quentin Via. Is that right, Via? Gabriel Giles, William Walkup, Noah Green, Zaven Taylor, Rory Dominguez, Carissa Giles, Corey Clay, Paxton Gum were the other team members as well. So let me get out of the way here.
Go ahead and we get there.
Okay, can we get in there with them?
Yeah.
You boys did a great job.
Thank you. Good job.
Let's give them another round of applause. Great job, guys. Very proud of how you represented Webster County, and look forward for a lot more in the future. So, good job. Congratulations. Thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate you. Thank you. Naomi, come on up.
Hi. I just wanted to reiterate that this is a great opportunity for some kids that aren't necessarily interested in traditional sports to still find a way to represent their school, work as a team, and provide them achievements and scholarship opportunities like it was mentioned. All the kids here got the scholarships for Wesleyan. A few of them have been recruited directly for Concord for specific games. It was really nice to go out and see all the other teams as well. We've got to compete against 15 other high schools in different areas, and it was really nice to see everybody out. They were some of the most well-behaved kids. It went really well, and great sportsmanship. Even with the teams that lost, everybody was still shaking hands and happy to be there just to compete and everything, so it was really nice. I would really love to see our program continue to grow. We right now have 20 students that are actively, like you mentioned, on the roster for different games. Overwatch 2 is just one game of, I think, a dozen that they can compete in. And we also get to go in the spring. We may get to do this thing again at Concord University for a spring championship as well. So the kids are already practicing and working on different techniques for next time, because we will probably see some of the same kids in the tournament next time. So they'll be defending champions at that point. So just really proud of them. Happy to see, them go out and represent the school.
Thank you all so very much. We're very proud of you. Good job, everyone. Good job.
I need to make sure that your picture gets on the wall up there with the sports clubs. Charge it. No, I'll just shove me in. It's just about. Okay, our next item is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I motion.
Jimmy?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, everybody had a copy of the minutes in their packet. Is anybody see any corrections?
Yeah, on the last page under executive session,
Last page under executive session.
yeah, where it talks about I did the motion to go into executive session. It says to discuss West Virginia Code. It should say in accordance with West Virginia Code 69A-4-6.
Okay.
This is to discuss. You shouldn't have that there twice.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Gotcha.
We got that. Anybody else? Good catch, Susan.
Thank you.
Joyce, you see anything in the minutes?
No, I didn't.
That being said, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Presentations? None. Student dispositions? None. Delegations? We have one delegation.
Mr. Jeff Bell's requesting for the board to request consideration to post and hire a paid coach in designated space to store materials without access. Mr. Bell, the podium is yours. We've got my phone's being used. Somebody else got to be the timekeeper.
Okay, I got it.
President Markle, Superintendent Arbogast, illustrious board members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll keep it short and sweet. You don't really have to worry about time. As the request said, I would like for the board to consider the position of esports to become a paid coaching position. Right now, Ms. Hagerman is technically a sponsor, so of course that would require it to be posted and interviewed, and also a designated space to store these computers and other items that these young men and women have to use. Currently, it is in a classroom at Webster County High School, which is accessible to any and all. We're talking $5,000 computer systems, which to bigger schools, as previously mentioned, the Hedgesvilles and the larger schools of the world, that is nothing but $5,000 computers in our schools for these young men and women to use. That's quite a bit of money considering our operational budget. As you have witnessed, these young men and women have done incredible things in their infancy, first year, bring us a state championship. How long did it take us to bring another state championship to Webster County High? Since 1975. We got our first one, 8 years ago? Basketball?
Yep.
So first year they brought us one. So I just would like for you to consider, again, posting that position as a paid coaching position. Keep in mind it is a year-round sport. It is dual season. It is fall and spring. And a designated space, it doesn't even have to really be at WCHS, as transportation is provided to Glade Elementary and Webster Springs Elementary directly from the high school. Spaces would, in any of that could be locked and maintained, would be more than adequate. And I thank you for your time.
Got one question on that. Would the esports coach have to go through the coaching regulations for like basketball? Do they?
They would, it's considering now that it is a
It's an
WVSSAC
SSAC.
governed,
Okay.
but Ms. Campbell has also been an employee of the board.
Right.
She'd still have to get her coaching certificate probably.
Not as a Well, as she is the head coach, she would have to attend the,
She would have to get the AED, that sort of
yeah,
thing.
she would have to go through all the certifications that every other coach goes through. But as far as, say, an individual who's not a board,
They would have to.
they would have to.
Mr. Bell, just a clarification question. You talk about some stuff. Is there any chance you could get me what that would look like or what those needs would be? I'm not a computer guy.
Understood.
My son has a PlayStation. That's
Right.
that's my knowledge. But if there's a specific type of cabinet or what would be needed, I would like, if somebody could get me something to at least look at that I can bring to the board and say, this is what they're talking about. This is
Very
what
good.
they
I'll
look
get
at.
with Ms. Hagerman and see what our needs are for that, as far as electricity, things like that.
And if you have any ideas of places, I know you mentioned something with Glade or whatever, but I mean, we obviously we'll work with you. Just, I guess what I'm asking for is a plan.
Understood.
I don't think
Understood.
what you're asking for is out of question or out of line. I'd like to just see something. Give me some ideas of what you're wanting,
Very good.
and then we can start rolling the ball for you.
I'll have it before you next meeting, sir.
Perfect.
She has a plan. Can I give you the plan?
Do you have it written?
The carpentry people are supposed to write me up what it's gonna be.
Perfect.
So there is a storage building out behind the science and stuff.
Outside?
Yeah, outside, but it's on campus, but outside.
I don't like it outside.
But, it would have its own access door, like by itself. And all it needs is a wall, it's storage. So if there was a wall built to separate it, partition it off, it would be its own room, because the computers need to be consistently, like, connected. The more that you have to unplug them and move them, the more the wear and tear is on them, and then they would need to be replaced more often. But this would be a actual, like how the field house is for the football, the wrestling, everything else, this would be like our on-campus, like, practice room, playing room, but we would also compete from that room. But it is available there, and I have talked to the construction, carpentry class about what it would take to partition that off, and, they would be willing to do so. It wouldn't be this year, they have too many projects this year, it'd be something they'd probably do next year. But, Mr. Sandy's supposed to be getting me an estimate of how much that's supposed to be, because I was going to come and try and write a grant for that, at some point. But that's something that we looked into, because it needs to be someplace that is, temperature controlled, no moisture, anything like that, so we have to make sure, but space-wise, it would be perfect for it. We went out and looked at it and measured it and everything like that. And then the other reason that we were interested in putting it in that outside building is because we do compete during school breaks, during times that the kids aren't in school. So if they needed access to the competition computers during Easter break and we can't get into the school, then we have an issue on whether we can compete or not. We may have to forfeit that game.
If we find a place or an area we can put you in the school, I promise you'll have access to it.
Okay.
I promise.
All right.
We'll take care of that for you.
We had that happen last spring, because we played last spring as well.
Okay.
And last spring, we had that exact problem. Luckily, the kids were able to play from home. That's another thing that's a great option about esports, is as long as they have access to internet, they can play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we can help.
Okay,
All
good.
right? We can help.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Mr. Bell, I may stop up and see at the school sometime. Talk. Perfect. Thank you guys very much.
Okay, next item is consent agenda. Do I have a motion to bring consent agenda to the floor?
I motion.
Lisa,
I'll second.
Jimmy? Okay. Under consent agenda, payment of bills, fundraisers, extracurricular trips. Anybody see anything with any of the bills or trips or anything that they got a question on?
There was to Quill Corporation, $5,590.40.
The pressure seal.
Pressure sealer,
Yeah.
what
that's it.
is that?
To Quill. About 2/3 of the way down, to Quill Corporation.
I can't find it either. There it is. $5,500, $5,590.
Okay.
Oh, the machine.
Seal envelopes.
It folds them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine something like per quill would be that much.
Yeah, I was thinking it was sealer for something like a floor or something.
Yeah. Yeah, our other one bit the dust. For W-2s. Yeah.
Gotcha.
One of the questions I had wasn't really about the money part of it, it was just, I see with air gas, and then we have the Woodford, is there a way of just kind of, consolidating all that to one company? I mean, I know here with it says cylinder rentals and hazmat charges,
Welding.
okay, okay, that's what I was wondering, if maybe they just didn't deal with that stuff. I was just curious, I just kind of saw that, and I saw Wolford, and I was like, well, I wonder why not just, but yeah, okay, that's all I had.
And our cameras for Glade, is that covered by a grant, or is that
Yeah.
COPS grant? Okay, that's what I thought. Susan or Joyce, you all got any more questions?
No. So, Mike, were you talking about the $61,000
Yes.
charge? Okay.
Yeah, that's the cameras for Glade. We only had one fundraiser, and I didn't see any trips, so. No trips, just one fundraiser, so. That being said, no more questions. All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Under new business, we have a motion to bring new business to the floor.
A motion.
Jimmy?
I'll second.
Okay, Jimmy, Joyce. Okay.
So what you see here, you got some several policies that are up before you. I'm gonna start on number 4 though. That MOU is so that we can give meals to our daycare if we ever get open and get back into the swing of things. So, that's retroactive. They were hoping they'd be back in, they would be ready by, January the 2nd. So I retroactively did it. I promised we would feed the kids. But we already have one with them for Glade, so this is just a new one with Webster is all it is. As for the wellness, I'm gonna let Mrs. Dillon go next. She has 1 and 3, number 1 and number 3. The number 1's the update to the wellness policy, and number 3 is update to the attendance policy. These were things that came out of legislation from the State Department. These were no changes that we were made. These are just a trickle down from the top down that we got to change ours because the state changed ours. But she's here if you guys have any questions on those, and she provides you all copies of them as well.
Yeah, so with the wellness policy, it was just agreeing, we had to change that, like you said, down from the state. And then the attendance policy, that was a big push from Stacy Losh at the State Department. They took out the part where it says educational leave. And so, like the trips to Disney and things like that previously could be approved are no longer approved. Families can still do them. We just would not excuse them, but that wouldn't be something that we would file for truancy or anything like that. Just if we know where the kids are, that's great, but if they would decide to do a trip or a vacation, we can no longer do educational leave.
They took the stress off the counties, off you all, of saying whether or not something's, it took the stress off everybody of the burden of proof of was it really an educational trip or not, is all it was, so. Anybody have any questions for Mrs. Dillon? The next policy, thank you, Chelsea. The next policy is the cell phone policy that's been up for comment and approval. Mrs. Williams, I don't believe we have any further public comments than what has been shared with the board since the last time we shared it. So no, we have not made any other additions, or corrections, or changes to this policy. It is drafted as you all last saw it and wanted it, and we are ready to go ahead and have you all approve that tonight. If you're ready to do it, or if you need to vote separately, we can do that as well.
Anybody think we need to do them separately, or just do the whole together?
I can say, with not being in school, we've not had any cell phone issues.
Yeah, 0 cell phone issues last
Yeah.
week.
For sure. So you guys good with voting on all those together then?
Yes.
Perfect,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, all in favor of new business items 1 through 4, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Under personnel. Do I have a motion to bring personnel to the floor?
I motion.
Lisa?
Aye.
Jimmy? Okay.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh,
Read off your orange sticky note there.
all right. Oh, yes. All right. I wondered why that was here.
For you to read.
Okay. I make a motion to go into executive session under West Virginia Code 6-9A-4, number 6, to discuss the possible employment of Tanya Williams.
Any motion? I need a second.
I second.
I'll second.
Susie, can I have it?
Okay, we're going into executive session at 6:22. vote on 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 together? Anybody see any reason to vote on them separate? Okay, we're voting on all items under personnel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are down to superintendent updates.
All right, here we go. A couple things I want to make you guys aware of. Due to a recent medical diagnosis at one of our schools, we're going to have to post for an additional LPN position. This will be a countywide position. That posting went up today. I can get into it down the road, but it was pretty quick, and there wasn't really nowhere for it to be on an agenda. But it's okay. Everything's fine. But we want to make sure our students are safe and make sure they're covered. I can discuss that later on with you in another meeting. Today we had our first calendar committee meeting. Our next meeting that we'll have regarding the calendar will be our calendar public hearing number 1. And that'll be on our next board meeting, which is the 27th. And then our second calendar public hearing will be on 2/10. After 2/10, I will take, at these meetings, people can come in, they can comment online. Mrs. Williams is going to remind me to get something up on the board website tomorrow once after the meeting's over with, for public comment after the next meeting, so they can comment on it. I just want to make sure I get it up on our dry erase board. So they'll have 2 meetings to come and speak here to comment on it if they wish. Staff can come, and they'll also be able to do it electronically online as well. And then I will bring that to you on, I'll bring my recommendation to you for the calendar on 2/24. And if that is approved, I will submit to the state board for approval on 2/25. Okay? Today we had our federal monitoring by the West Virginia Department of Ed, where they monitor all of our SRF and money and everything that was federal dollars that's being allocated through title and through the county. The easiest, the short answer to everything is the WVDE commented that of the 59 monitorings they done, because they do some private schools and some other entities as well. Of the 59 that were monitored, Webster County had the absolute best evidence uploaded of anybody in the state of West Virginia. And that 100% credit goes to Dr. Powell. She did an amazing job. She does an amazing job, and she's so good at what she does. And also for Tammy Holcomb and Chelsea Dillon, they got a lot of their stuff together and got those things to Dr. Powell for submission. The evidence and things that she listed, I was expecting an hour to 2 hour meeting, and we were done in about 25 minutes because they had no questions because of the evidence and the answers Dr. Powell gave. So I want to recognize her tonight as well, and you as a board should be very, very proud of her because she's done an amazing job with that. The next thing I want to talk about, I want to recognize a couple other people too. Jeremy Powell and James, they are bus mechanic. We've been trying to fill the snowplow job for several weeks. We got it posted again. We do have a couple applicants that I think will be, hopefully maybe be hired by the next meeting. But in the meantime, those 2 guys have went out on their own. They have not, their work, they've done it outside their job classification. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud, but they are doing things they don't have to do. And they're plowing our parking lots, and they're taking care of our schools. And I can assure you there's probably not another director in the state of West Virginia that's done what Jeremy Powell's done in the last 2 weeks, driving a snowplow truck, and as well as James also. Very proud of those guys. I'm very thankful for them, and I appreciate them very much. And when you see them, everybody out there, the teachers, the principals, kids, we need to make sure we're thanking them, because there's going above and beyond, and then there's this. They were out plowing snow yesterday on a Sunday, trying to get things back open, and I'm very thankful for those 2 gentlemen. Appreciate them very much. Next, I want to give a quick attendance update. Glade Elementary enrollment is 329. Hacker Valley School, 37. Webster Springs Elementary, 191. Webster County High School, 474. Total enrollment of 1,031, which is an increase of 3 from last month. Lastly, I have a snow day update that I want to give everyone. This is going to come out of the office as a kind of one of the things I want to do. Jimmy suggests, being more transparent and giving some statements, to our public. And I'm going to send this out tomorrow, but I wanted you all to hear it first. So as of 1/13/25, which is today, we will have one non-traditional remote learning day left. We've utilized 6 traditional snow days and 4 non-traditional days, remote days this year. The next little area says, so what does this mean for our schools? Once we have exhausted our 5 traditional snow days, which we have, and our 5 non-traditional days, which we have 1 left, we must begin making up those days by attending school in our scheduled outside school environment, or OS days, also known as spring break. We also have one of those on June the 9th as well. Due to the fact that we've utilized 1 traditional snow day more than we are allowed to take without losing days, we will have to attend the Friday of our scheduled spring break on April 25th, 2025. So Friday, April the 25th, 2025 is now a regular scheduled day of school. In the event we utilize our 5th and final non-traditional remote day, or have to call any further traditional snow days, we will have to make those learning loss days up by attending days that were scheduled off for spring break. As we move forward after our 5th remote learning day or any traditional days, we'll begin making those days up by starting with Thursday, April the 24th, and working back a day at a time. In the event those days would all be used up as makeup days, we will begin to add days to the end of the year. And then I have a list of the days that are OS days for spring break as makeup days 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, working backwards. You can see those. Once this goes out, if anyone's out there that didn't understand that or needs further explanation, be glad to do it. But I felt like we needed to clear that up so people knew exactly what we were looking at. And I wanted you all to see it before I put that out there in case because you guys are likely to get some questions on it as well. So I wanted you all to have a heads up before I put that out to the public.
Will that be on the website?
Yes, sir. It'll be on the website and social media platforms, and it'll be accessible there as well. And Mr. Vice President, that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, anybody else got anything? Jimmy?
No.
Lisa?
No.
Joyce?
No.
Susan?
No. Oh, well, yeah, I was gonna ask, what about the buses that we had? Did we have any bids on those 4 buses?
So that kind of slipped through the crack. We got to get those out for public notice. We have them. We're gonna get them to the paper and get those out for public, so the public can see it, and we're just not here saying it. I want to make sure we're doing it legally.
Somebody's trying to.
Somebody's.
Okay, it's okay, my bad.
I think it's Randolph County School. I'm guessing they're delaying tomorrow.
Randolph's trying to hire him. Okay, the only thing I still had a question about the bus drivers getting keys to the garage down there, so they have access to a restroom.
You asked for me that the last time. I did not cover that, but I will take care of that tomorrow. I promise you that.
And our care plans, are our nurses getting those caught up?
Yes. As far as I know, they are all completed.
Okay. That's all I had.
Just a reminder for that thing, we have to go online, make sure everybody does that. Due by February. Remember that thing? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I have an email. I'll have to go
Huh?
back and look.
The self-appraisal?
No,
We
it's not
already
the
did-
self-appraisal.
no, we already
It's
did
just
that.
that thing that you have to go in by February. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, just like, I'm just making sure, just a reminder, because I often forget. I actually remembered this year, but
He's reminding us.
I'm reminding you guys. It's that where you have to, I forget what it's called.
Financial disclosure.
Yes, it's the,
Conflict
yes,
of
that
Financial
one.
disclosure.
Yeah, it has
Yeah,
to be done by
yes.
February 1st.
Yes. Yeah. All right, I'll just remind you all for that.
Yeah, Bob has to do it too.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
anything else? Short and sweet. I have a motion to adjourn.
No motion.
Lisa,
I'll second.
Jimmy. We are adjourned.